Hello and welcome to Research Sausage, where I discuss the origins of my research papers, hoping that this will help you in your path to generating your own research. I always tell students that to write a research paper, you need to start from a research question. Then you do what is needed to answer it. The problem is, if it is a good question, someone else may be asking it too. In this case, my original research question was the following. My dissertation was about how firing costs dampen employment. If firing costs dampen employment levels, might they also dampen employment dynamics over the business cycle? In other words, might firing costs lead a macroeconomy to respond less to shocks? One complication was that the obvious model to use for this study has entry and exit. This is because entry and exit are important factors of hiring and firing. It wasn't clear how to use traditional linearization or projection methods used in business cycle research to deal with entry and exit, which is essentially a non-linear decision. I decided to sidestep this problem by focusing on the transition dynamics of the economy after a temporary productivity shock. This way, no linearization was needed. Just some imagination to implement the simulation. I found that, as you might expect, firing costs do dampen the response of the model economy to shocks. Then a new challenge occurred. I presented my findings at a conference. Many questions and comments came from a gentleman at the back. I approached him at the end of the talk, and he told me, "I'm surprised that you find firing costs dampen the response of the economy to shocks." I asked, "Why is that?" He responded, "Because I found the opposite." Great. This gentleman had been working on the same problem. However, there were two differences between his approach and mine. First, he had chosen a different path. If entry and exit don't fit the traditional approach to business cycle analysis, then just make them exogenous. He also used a lot of imagination to restrict the steady state to a finite number of possibilities, making it tractable. Second, he had assumed two values for the productivity shock. We discussed and decided this might be the reason we got different results. Next challenge. His paper was published first. Now, let's step back. What is unique about my paper? It's the fact that it has both endogenous entry and shocks. This is true whether or not there are firing costs present. So really what I was doing all along without realizing was generating information on how entry and exit behave over the business cycle in this class of models. Rewriting the paper to focus on entry and exit avoided having my paper and the other paper step on each other's toes. As a result, the published version is largely about entry and exit, but its origins were rather different. In any case, research is research, and if you find the same thing as someone else, your approaches and findings are sure to be different in some way, which you can emphasize. I hope you find this useful for developing your own research. Thank you, and until next time.